Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today you are in the masterclass day 2. I know I have been receiving a lot of emails and you guys have been requesting me to post the masterclass a bit soon, and I'm so sorry for the delay as well. So now we have actually created a schedule for the masterclass and the other videos as well. So every 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th and so on. So every video in this order will be the masterclass and all other videos will be the normal musical videos that I post. The videos about my experiences and the music itself. So now you know that every 10th video on my channel will be a masterclass. So the video number 10 was a masterclass day 1, and after that I've posted 9 more videos. So this will be the 20th video that I've posted, and this is a masterclass day 2. So the 30th video will be a masterclass day 3. So without any further ado, let's get into today's topic. Today we'll be learning about the vocal registers. So there are 5 vocal registers: vocal fry, chest register, head voice, or known as the head register, falsetto, and the whistle register. And we will get into a brief about all the registers today, one by one. But before we start all that, I would really like to, clarify the main question that must be going on in your mind, as in how is sound produced. So when we speak, the vessels in our voice box work together to produce sound. And that's how we produce sound, or that's what we call voice. So now if the muscles are stretched, a very high pitched and light voice or sound is produced, but if they're relaxed, a very low and heavy voice is produced from them. So now we know that if you stretch your vocal cords too much, you can produce a really high pitched and light voice, and if you just keep them relaxed, you can produce a very heavy and low registered voice. But what about the voice that lies between them? So now you must have got an idea. To produce a voice that falls between those two classifications, you need to learn how to modulate those muscles in order to produce the voice that falls throughout that classification. Let's start with the vocal fry. So it is the lowest of all vocal registers, and it is produced by loosely connected muscles that allow the air to pass through in a bubble or bubbler form that produces that popping sound. So it sounds generally like, so I'm going to do an example. So it's like, how you are doing today? Hello. So this is vocal fry. So I hope you experienced it. So this is how vocal fry sounds. So now we are going into the chest register. So chest register is when you feel the vibration that you're singing a song within your chest, this area particularly. And in this particular register, the vocal folds thicken up so that they are able to support the demanding vocals that are going to be produced in this particular register. And the voice that is produced is really rich, and it's basically, we use this register to belt a lot. Belting is another technique or a vocal run that we will talk about in the following videos, but generally chest registers are used to do belting. So we will do an example as well. Forever head voice. So head voice is basically that Mickey Mouse or that squeaky voice that you hear a lot of people do when they're talking to a baby. Yes, that's the head voice. So it sounds like, hello, how are you doing? This is the example of a head voice. Because you are actually reaching into the highest of registers of your chest. So because you're reaching into your head, so the vibration will be felt by you in your head area. That's why it's called the head voice. So the vocal cords in this particular register are stretched a lot to their finest point, and they are vibrating really fast to produce that head voice. It is really easy for some of the people to reach their head voice and extend it a little more further, and for some it's really difficult. It depends upon the vocal classification in which they fall. If you don't know what classification your voice falls in, then click on the bar link on the top right hand corner of this video right now. Falsetto. Now, falsetto is kind of like an extension to the head voice. Now, imagine yourself doing the head voice. I am doing the head voice now. The vocal folds are tightly closed and they're stretched. But when you're doing falsetto, the gap between the vocal cords, it enlarges. Not too much, but there's a slight gap that allows the air to come through. And with that gap and the high head voice, you get a very airy head voice. And that airy head voice is known as falsetto. So it's kind of like, I am gonna be doing, I am just singing this like an example. And if I do it in the head voice, I'm singing it in the head voice. I'm doing this as an example. I'm talking in my head voice. And if I do falsetto, I am talking in my head voice. I am now in my falsetto. Because of the air gap between, the head voice becomes airy. It might feel like to you that it's beneath the head voice, but actually falsetto lies above the head voice. And in falsetto, the gap between throughout the vocal cords, the gap between them, between the two ends of the vocal cords it has a gap, and the air is popping through it, like coming out of it, but the ends of the vocal cords are vibrating at a really high speed, at a really high frequency to support that particular falsetto range. Whistle note. Now we're into the whistle note, and whistle note, as we all know, is that squeaky whistle that some of you know how to produce through your mouth or your lips, but a lot of you cannot do it with your vocal cords. So Mariah Carey is one of the artists which has, kind of mastered that particular art and has been doing it for over 30 years. So her career has spanned over 3 decades, and she's been doing the whistle note for 3 decades and is still doing them perfectly. She's a great example of someone who can add a lot of technique into the whistle note. So doing a whistle note is okay, but within singing, if you're able to do a whistle note, just doing the whistle note is not quite enough. You need to be able to articulate it into multiple techniques and vocal runs. If you can do that, that means that you have mastered the whistle note. And the living example of that is Mariah Carey. So the whistle note is produced when the vocal folds are just closed. It does not have any frequency between them. Just like when you're, let's take an example, and when you whistle through your mouth. Now when I whistle, the entire lip gap is closed, just except one small hole through which the air pops out, producing a whistle sound. It's the exact same way in which the vocal cords work to produce a whistle registered sound. So what happens is the entire vocal cords, both of them are overlapped and they are closed. They just have one small opening to produce a high-pitched whistle sound or whistle note. Now the placement of that particular opening can be anywhere. If it's towards the low end, then you'll be producing a low or quite low level of whistle. But if it's placed towards the very high end, towards the very end of it, then you have a really high pitched whistle. So I hope that you have enjoyed this journey of brief learning about the vocal registers, and I hope that helped you. So we'll be back with something new the next time we do a masterclass. Thank you so much.